I love fairy tales. I love sad stories. And for whatever strange reason, I love when you combine the two together. The game I'll be reviewing today, The Liar Princess and the Blind Prince, is one such example of a somber fairy tale where love isn't as simple as it should be. But before I jump into my review, I'd love to know your thoughts on the game. Did you hate it, love it, or something else entirely? Feel free to let me know in the comments below. Without further ado, let's jump into my review. Developed and published by Nippon Ichi Software, the studio best known for the Disgaea series, The Liar Princess and the Blind Prince is an action-adventure side-scrolling game about lonely hearts and misunderstandings. You see, once upon a time, there was a large wolf monster that would sit upon a tall cliff and sing a lonely song towards the bright moon above. Pretty soon, her beautiful voice attracted the attention of a meek prince, who would sit below the cliff and listen to her every night, not knowing that the voice belonged to a monster. Well, she was wary of this human prince at first and considered eating him. Hearing the prince applaud her singing warmed her heart, and soon she grew attached to him. However, tragedy strikes when one day, the prince tries to climb the cliff to see the face of the one singing, and the wolf, nervous about the prince seeing her true appearance, accidentally slashes at his eyes, blinding him. Feeling extremely guilty for what she has done, the wolf takes on the disguise of a young princess and sets off to lead the prince to a witch, who may be able to return his sight. That's easier said than done though, as the journey not only requires traversing a dangerous forest, but having to continuously lie about her true self to the one she loves as well. Now, I really enjoyed this game, and there are many factors that went into my enjoyment of it. For starters, I like that though the game is basically one huge escort mission in which you lead the defenseless prince to the forest, the gameplay is quite unique and split into two parts, each of which plays differently. On the one hand, you have princess form, in which the character is limited in speed and jumping power, but you can do other stuff such as hold the prince's hand to guide him and give him simple instructions to perform, such as stand on a switch, walk in a certain direction, or hold on to items. Meanwhile, in wolf form, the character is unable to interact with the prince, but you can move faster, jump higher, and protect him by attacking enemies or utilizing the environment. Due to there being a variety of obstacles that stand in your way, such as enemies, puzzles, and platforming, knowing when to switch back and forth between forms is key. And I had quite a bit of fun figuring out how to make my way through each level. Speaking of which, I think that the makers of the game did a wonderful job with the music. Though the soundtrack of the game, aptly titled Lullabies for the Prince, may only be 15 short tracks, it does a mighty fine job of feeling both memorable and magical. Sometimes somber and atmospheric, other times a bit more cheery and adventurous, the soundtrack does a fantastic job of not just bringing a variety of environments to life, but also communicating the feelings of our protagonist as well. Though they themselves did not talk, the fact that I could still understand the relationship through their facial expressions and background music is a nice testament to the powerful storytelling. That brings me to the biggest draw of the game, at least for me, which was the cute, yet tragic story of the game. What can I say? The premise, as well as the rest of the fairy tale aesthetics surrounding the game, really wowed me. From the beautiful Japanese narration that sets up the story for us, to the charming hand-drawn visuals, I absolutely love that this game feels like it is plucked straight from the pages of a storybook. Themes of love, sacrifice, and true beauty are ever present, and this, combined with the aforementioned music and gameplay in which the princess does her hardest to protect the prince, really connected with me on an emotional level. While it may not be the most original story ever, I still think that it does enough with the world building and character interactions to really stand out. And not only is the main game itself presented in this manner, but through a series of collectibles, you can also unlock an extra bit of backstory about the witch in the forest, which really adds to the world building. Is this game perfect though? Of course not. And like any other thing that I love, I know how to also note its flaws. For one, the game is quite short, only taking about 5 hours to beat, and while for some busier individuals shorter games are fine, I know that others out there don't share this sentiment. Another issue with the game is that as great as the Japanese narration is, if you actually let it play out, cutscenes feel like they take a long time.
彼女は自らの美しい歌声を誇らしげに毎夜この小高い岩の上で月に向かって歌うのでした。
This could just be a personal issue, what with me not understanding the language, but I know that I found myself constantly just reading the on-screen text myself and mashing through the narration in order to progress. Finally, the difficulty of the game is pretty low. Despite being a game that involves a lot of puzzle solving, it's not until close to the end that the game poses any sort of real challenge. While this is probably because of the bigger emphasis on story and atmosphere, it still would have been nice to get some obstacles that would have taken all skills to figure out. In the end though, despite some flaws, I still think that the game is a unique experience, and I greatly enjoyed my time with it. With cute characters, a charming storybook aesthetic, nice music, and interesting gameplay, I definitely think that The Liar Princess and The Blind Prince is worth a look. Even if some of you out there decide to only give it a look after a price drop, at least keep it in mind. But hey, that's just my opinion. And remember, don't take anything I say too seriously. After all, I'm just a wannabe reviewer. Thanks for watching.